Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The SMA Victor. I am your host, Victor, aka Victor the Inspiration. And today we are going to be going into a fascinating topic, why SMA individuals may struggle with physical activities. Individuals with spinal muscular atrophy, SMA, often struggle with physical activities due to a genetic defect that leads to the death of motor neurons, causing progressive muscle weakness, atrophy, and low muscle tone hypotonia. This neuromuscular disorder disrupts the communication between the brain and skeletal muscles, making voluntary movements such as walking, sitting up, or raising arms difficult or impossible. My intention with today's episode is to spread awareness that just because you see someone in a wheelchair doesn't necessarily mean that all of us and everyone has the same physical mobility as others. I want to spread awareness that if you come across someone with a disability, feel free and don't be shy to ask, hey, do you need any help? And some may say it's okay, I got it, and may ask, would you mind? And it's greatly appreciated to spread that kind of awareness. So number one, it says progressive muscle weakness and atrophy. SMA predominantly affects the muscles closest to the center of the body: shoulders, hips, thighs, and back. This makes activities like standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, or lifting objects particularly challenging. Because the muscles do not receive necessary signals from the nerves, they shrink and waste away, leading to a loss of physical strength. SMA is progressive, meaning strength often decreases over time, causing individuals to lose previously acquired motor skills. So as time goes on, we tend to become weaker over time. To put it simply, at the age of 5 years old, I had the physical strength to push myself in a manual wheelchair. To fast forward 10 years later, at the age of 15, I no longer had the physical strength to push myself, where I needed a powerized wheelchair. Fast forward to, let's say, present time. I'm currently 27 now. So fast forward to present time is, I still am in a powerized wheelchair, but now I'm starting to struggle with like swallowing certain meats. So I try to prefer chicken rather than steaks, or red meats like that. My neck support is also becoming quite a bit of a challenge. So sometimes, if you're familiar with my content, you will see my neck do this throughout the episode, and that's just because my neck is just getting tired. But I just wanted to mention that a little visualization about the progressiveness of the disability. Now, this is just my journey. I cannot speak on behalf of everyone who has SMA. I want to mention that as well. Two, fatigue and reduced endurance. Muscles in people with SMA tire rapidly, causing a measurable decline in function during activity. For example, a person might start a walk fine but lose the ability to continue after a few minutes. Yes, our endurance really. I personally never walked, but there's different forms of SMA and different severities of it. So, our endurance level is much different. So, for example, I just became a published author, and there's more. I will discuss more about that towards the end of the episode. But I just became a published author, and I started doing some signatures for my mom and my aunts and my family here. And as I'm doing the signatures, my endurance level to sign, was is very it has declined a lot, where it made me question a lot of things about my future. But that's a different topic for another day. Individuals often experience overwhelming constant exhaustion and a lack of energy, which can make initiating or maintaining physical activity difficult, even if they are well rested. It's very, very true. So for me, is navigating the territory of SMA, and going through the fatigueness and the progressiveness that it holds. It's we can um, get some rest and feel well rested, but we can wake up still feeling fatigue, and not feeling our 100% how we were maybe the previous day or the previous week, maybe even the previous month as well. And there's a lot of different factors too. Is how's your mobility? Are you being more bed rested? Are you not moving in your wheelchair too much anymore? Are you losing your independency a little bit more, so it's causing you to feel much more of a decline? Or Also, too, are you feeling under the weather? Because, if you feel under the weather, it's going to also play a significant factor as well. Being under the weather, and in addition to having SMA, it's it's not the easiest thing, and it hits you several times harder than just anyone feeling under the weather, right? But I just wanted to share that as well. So third, physical limitations and structural issues. Weak muscles can cause joints to tighten, restricting range of motion and making movement painful or impossible. Weakness in back muscles can lead to spinal curvature, which impairs posture, balance, and the ability to sit or walk comfortably. Due to weakness and poor balance, individuals with SMA are at a higher risk of falling, which can result in injuries that further limit mobility. So, kind of picture like an older person and like a senior citizen, for example, and when they get older, what happens? They tend to lose their balance. So maybe one needs a cane, or they don't have their strength or their balance like they once used to, right? So having SMA is, I compared it in a previous episode like months ago, a while back, and I compared it. Living with SMA is kind of like growing older. And what I mean by this is, when you grow older, what happens? Things that you once used to do starts to become harder. That you uh, things that you once used to do starts to become harder. And to put it simply, in having SMA, you experience all of these different things, but at a much earlier age. So I always utilize and use the analogy that SMA is like growing older, because things that you once used to do, you no longer, can do them as much, and you have to kind of bear through that process and try to adapt and try to see, what can you do a little bit differently, or how can you adjust to your environment so you can still try to keep your independency as much as possible. And even to maybe try to find gadgets or tools, or things that can kind of make life a little bit more convenient for you as well. And but yeah. So fourthly, it says respiratory and feeding difficulties. How I mentioned earlier, how chewing becomes a little bit more difficult for me. Like red meats, for example. So I prefer chicken. Weakness in the intercostal muscles between the ribs and the diaphragm can reduce lung capacity and weaken coughs, making exertion difficult and increasing the risk of respiratory infections. Like I mentioned earlier, how I often tend to get pneumonia, and I have a low respiratory immune system, so I tend to catch what may be a cough or a flu to you is most likely a pneumonia and a hospital visit for me, sometimes even an ICU visit as well. So our respiratory is not the greatest as well. Again, I cannot speak for everyone. I can only speak on behalf of my own personal life experiences. Muscles in the mouth and throat can become weak, causing difficulties with chewing and swallowing, which can lead to fatigue and nutritional issues. And at first I never really quite understood the nutritional aspect of this, but it's because, we sometimes can become exhausted. For example, the other day, I am recording this video February 15th. You will see this video tomorrow, which will be February 16th, 2026. And, just the other day, I want to say like 2 days ago, I was so fatigued with eating where I literally was having trouble opening my mouth just to fit a spoon, a simple spoon to fit in my mouth. And a spoon is not like that deep. Like, I want you to really sit and think about that. Next time, if you're eating with a spoon, I want you to see, try to like see how could you struggle fitting a spoon in your mouth. And one of this is my mouth muscles was so exhausted and tired and fatigued, where it was really hard for me to open my mouth and let alone chew. So at first I never really understood the nutritional aspect of it, but I began to understand later when I started to experience, the decline with chewing and intaking different foods and everything like that. And this isn't like an everyday thing for me, but it's, it happens every once in a while, especially if I'm feeling under the weather. And I have been feeling under the weather literally this past week for a whole week straight. And I'm working on a lot of different stuff too. So, it keeps me busy, but, I'm also getting sleepless nights as well. But it's worth it in the long run for me. Other contributing factors. Because many with SMA are not able to move around as much, they have a higher risk of developing low bone density and fractures. Exercising too hard can potentially burn out remaining motor neurons and exacerbate muscle weakness. So, finding the right balance of activity is crucial. While SMA presents these challenges, physical therapy, aquatic therapy, and modern disease modifying treatments such as Spinraza, Evrysdi, I will include Zolgensma as well, can help manage symptoms, improve strength, and maintain function. So, in terms of physical activity, is for me personally is I have a pulley and I try to work my arm muscles as much as possible. I try to preserve the muscles as much as possible. I came up with this philosophy where it says if you don't use it, you lose it. Meaning, you know, I try to preserve my muscles, my upper body muscles as much as possible. And where I'm going with this, what I do is I am very mindful of not overdoing it, because if you overdo it, what happens? You're going to be exhausted, you're going to be tired, and the next thing you know, you're not going to be able to do anything for, the next day or a few days, right? Or, maybe even worse, like a week. And that's when you start to see a decline. So go slow, build it up, and what works best for you. I have a YouTube, not a YouTube, but a Instagram highlight called SMA Journey, or Life with SMA. I think it's SMA Journey. And, it's me. Oh, you know what? I can actually show you guys here. Let me hide my screen really quick. I'll show you guys. Give me 1 second. Wrong one. I'm looking up here because this is what you guys see. Okay. Let me pull this up so I can show you guys really quick, and I think it's in relevancy to today's topic. Let me pull this up for you guys really quick. It's right here in front of me. Okay, let's bring it up. Right here. Okay, perfect. So this is my Instagram highlight. Let me bring up my page. So this is my Instagram page. I'll talk more about the book soon, or right now. But so these are my Instagram highlights, okay? And then I just click SMA Journey right here. I'm looking up because this is what you guys see. So I started this 171 weeks ago, which is a few months ago, and I started lifting up these weights as a proud SMA moment. I was actually able to open the back of these batteries. I never tried doing this before, but this was challenging. However, I challenged it, and little things like this, like you don't really think about it much, unless you have SMA. But like this could be simple to you, right? Like if you don't have SMA or physical limitations, this was huge for me. I remember this. I was so freaking thrilled and excited. It was like a baby taking his steps for the first time. So it says not quite at 2 pounds yet, but it's there for when I am. So what I did is I don't know if I talked about it later here. It's been a while since I looked at this, but my cousin got me this truck, so that's why I have it. And anyhow, so what I first began doing is I was so weak. This is like I think the year 2023, and I was so fatigued at the time. I wasn't doing the greatest physically, and like I was just struggling a lot, feeding myself, picking up my drinks. It was just a huge physical decline, and I remember buying myself this 1 pound weight, and I couldn't pick it up. And me being my optimistic self, I'm like, there has to be something that I can do there has to be like a half a pound weight or a quarter weight. So what I did is ended up finding something, and I know there's a photo of it. We will come across it right now. And let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, this is it right here. So what I did is I ended up buying. I was like, there has to be, like something with like a half a pound or a quart, like a point of a quarter weight. So what I did is I ended up finding these metal things, and you can again go on my Instagram page and see this yourself and read the caption and everything. But I ended up I couldn't pick up a full pound, so I ended up finding these, and I just began doing the quarters, a quarter of a pound or point of a pound. I think it's a proper terminology. And literally it's half a pound. So 0.25 of a pound. Okay, let's move on. And anyhow, so I started picking this up, started doing it. Just 1, 2, 3, started doing that. Then eventually I went up to, doing 2 of them, which is now half a pound. Started doing that. Then eventually I was able to work my way up to 3. So now I'm at 3/4 of a pound. And then eventually, I was able to get to a full pound, which are these white ones are a pound. And I was finally able to reach that milestone and do that and do this. And so it says personal best so far. I picked up 3.5 pounds. I want you to think about that, you guys. Like, especially if you have SMA, is I picked up 3.5 pounds with. I picked up 3.5 pounds, okay, and picked up 2.25 pound weight with one hand, which is utilizing my dominant hand. And so the other one is 171 weeks, and this is 115 weeks. So that's like a year. I think like a year, right? Because a year is 52 weeks. So roughly like a year later, I went from 0.25 of a pound to 3.5 pounds. It's huge, right? And then, so I just started documenting my journey and things like this. You guys can look at this. So this was my idea here. I know I have a YouTube video of it. I don't know if I have it on here yet. So this was my idea. So, this was the weights, and I wrote this on May 20th, 2024 at 7 o'clock at night. And I drew this up. I'm not the greatest artist here. But, up here is, where you would hang like a coat rack, like a coat rack hanger thingy. And then this is the rope, for the pulley. And this is what I would pull. These would be the weights. And then so I can do that. This was my idea behind it. Let's see. I want to see if I actually have like the latest. I want to see if I actually have my. I don't know if I do. Yeah. Okay, I don't. But I have a pulley. I could bring it back over here. I have a pulley on my door, and I know I have a YouTube video talking about it on my YouTube channel. You can actually go to my YouTube channel, Victortheinspiration, and I literally have a series. I can show you guys as well. Let me show you guys. I wasn't planning on this video being this long, but let me show you guys. I just think it's so. The reason why I'm doing this is because I think it'll help you guys, and I think it'll benefit you guys. Okay, so let me see. Let me go here. So I'm gonna pull up the other ways so you guys can actually. I want to show you guys what you guys would see if you guys pull it up. Okay, so this is my YouTube channel, and my other YouTube channel. This is my primary YouTube channel. Well, not primary, but my first. This YouTube channel that you're seeing this video on is strictly just SMA awareness. So this is my YouTube channel, and then all these things. But I have a playlist. So let's go to playlist. Dedicated to literally just me sharing my life with SMA. So let's go where I'm at. Beautiful playlist. So my life with SMA. So there's 45 videos total. And from mental collapse. So this is all this. I talk about the progressiveness, about my disability. I recently just talked about this about a month ago. I know I have an episode, well, not an episode, but a video somewhere around here. And you guys would just have to go through here and find it. But I literally have a video, and I edited it. So you guys can check it out and see like the pulley I'm talking about. I will, now that I know that I haven't posted a video, I will make it a point to make an updated post, talk about my weight thing. Now currently on the pulley, I'm able to do 5 pounds. I'm able to do that. So I haven't quite went back from where I once started, like picking up the metal weights like that. I use something a little bit different. But if I had to guess, I haven't done that in a while. I've been utilizing the pulley. So I do that, and I just try to keep my physical mobility as active as much as possible. And being on the computer, definitely helps as well because it's some form of a physical effort, and my phone too. There's definitely a lot of days, some days where I'm just exhausted and I struggle a lot to have my physical mobility, but, I either make it happen regardless of how I feel, or I'm really, really, really not doing too well, where I'm like, give yourself some rest. I definitely have those days as well. But if I can push myself, I do it. That's just me, personally. But yeah, so I wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it's long. It's a lot longer than I had originally anticipated, but I think it's very, very valuable. It just felt right to kind of incorporate what I did into this video. So if you guys did, like I mentioned earlier in the video, so I wanted to share this with you guys, is I recently became a published author January 16th, 2026. And you guys, by the time you guys actually see this video, it will be uploaded tomorrow, which will be February 16th, 2026. So literally 1 month from today's upload, when you guys see this video, I will have officially became, not officially, but I will have been a published author for a month already, which is pretty exciting and surreal of a moment. So my book is here, Become the Victor, Turning Trials into Triumph. And it is me navigating my journey with SMA, me navigating hospitalization experiences, surgeries, dozens and dozens and dozens of back surgery life experiences, me navigating pneumonia, collapsed lungs, being in the ICU numerous times, and navigating that process, me navigating grief, depression, how you guys just seen on my YouTube channel, mental collapse. I went through a severe mental collapse where personally and professionally my worlds were just colliding down. And I talked about this experience and I shared everything that I was going through. My intention wasn't to write a book. I was just journaling my thoughts, and little did I know I had the material to turn it and put everything into a book. And so I put all of my work into this book, and it's by far my greatest and most vulnerable project yet. But it's raw, it's honest, and it's not just me sharing what it was and what it is I have been through, but me documenting and sharing what it was I was doing to overcome these different seasons and trials and tribulations within my life, to hopefully inspire you and inspire you guys that there is good that lies ahead. There is better that can come out from this. So this is my book. If you guys want to get it, here's a QR code. So if you guys are watching this on another device or your TV, this is it. Or you can simply also type in the book title again, Become the Victor, Turning Trials into Triumph, or simply look up Victortheinspiration at Barnes & Noble and Amazon's website. So I am currently trying to get it in stores. If you have any connections or you can help me make this happen, it would be incredible. It would be amazing, especially if you guys can maybe reach out to like a few organizations, or if you know a contact or someone that can help me, get this in stores. It'd be extraordinary. Any and all help, any and all opportunities you can help me with, it would be so greatly appreciated. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And as always, remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.